power-ups got taken out of Madden 23, and this changes everything. Madden released the best cards from every position this week, but they're missing one small detail: the power-up symbol. Now, when the first batch of cards got released, it could have just been a mistake. But when day 2 of reveals rolled around, I think it's pretty evident that power-ups are a thing of the past. And before you guys go and get mad at EA for whatever reason, this is called game marketing. They're purposely not going to release any more information on it because they want us to speculate and talk about the game. So what did I do? I speculated. And here are a few routes that EA can take. For starters, I think that EA could just be going away with the power-up cards completely. This doesn't mean that the power-up system will be leaving the game, but instead it will just be implemented into every card. That way, EA doesn't have to worry about duplicate cards, and they can still have multiple cards upgrade certain players. Since the start of power-ups, I did find them sort of confusing why I had to take an exact path to upgrade the cards that I wanted to upgrade. I didn't understand why you couldn't just use power-up cards to power up the basic card, but that's just my logic. I think that if EA took this approach, it would be a lot easier for beginner players to get into the game, and it would change the way that Ultimate Team coins would be used, which should be pretty interesting. A similar route piggybacking on that last one would be where EA doesn't have a power-up system altogether. Instead, EA could just make it where we can upgrade the cards with training directly. No more using cards that upgrade your current players. I know that some people have talked about this being broken, but I think that it could work really well if EA utilizes a system they already have in franchise mode. There, you can train players and they'll randomly update certain stats like deep threat for receivers. The only downside to this is that it introduces RNG into the game, so they might have to make it where certain training upgrades give you a set number of statistical upgrades. Because let's face it, nobody wants a 99 speed Cooper Cup in the game. And if you're enjoying the video, be sure to give it a like because I'm uploading daily Madden content every day at 4 p.m. Eastern. And moving on to our next system, we have upgrading cards based on their real life performance. I think that this could be a really cool approach for Madden to take because it allows Madden players to get this same feeling that fantasy brings people while watching the NFL. Not only will you be rooting for your favorite team and your fantasy players, but you'll now be rooting for the players that you have on your ultimate team. It's really simple. If the players perform well, they get upgrades. We already know that EA is capable of doing this because they do it with in-season ratings adjustments, but that is only for a few players. I think when they have to take into account the whole league, it gets to be probably too much work. On top of that, they'd also have to decrease stats for some players that didn't perform as well, so that's essentially double the work. Even though it would be cool to pick up cards prior to Sunday's games and attempt to make huge profits for big performers, I think this is probably the least likely approach Madden will take. And that brings us to our final route, parallel upgrades. If you played MLB The Show at all, you know exactly what I'm talking about. In Diamond Dynasty, you're able to upgrade your cards just by playing the game with them. In the games, you have certain objectives you can complete to earn progress towards paralleling a card. There are multiple levels of parallels for each card, and for every parallel, all statistical attributes get a +1 upgrade. That means that you can increase the overall of any card by 1 for every parallel that you earn. So for example, with a pitcher, you could get 40 PXP for every inning pitched, 25 for every completed game, and there are even bonuses based on how well you perform. So what does that mean for Madden? Well, imagine that for defense, you have to get fumbles, sacks, and picks to earn progress towards upgrading your player. Or on offense, you have to get running yards or even passing touchdowns. I think that this would be a crazy addition to the game, and I think it would result in the best Madden Ultimate Team we've ever seen. On top of that, in MLB The Show, players can see how many other people paralleled each level of cards, so it adds a certain racing aspect to it. Personally, I'm hoping that this is the route that EA takes, but let me know your thoughts in the comments because I'm done.